Hello, YouTube. A big move is coming because we were looking at a July 7 apex, which is today, to know whether or not we were going to pass our uptrend meeting our gap. So this 438 area was particularly important because as we look here, we had gap number one, and then we had gap number two. So because we had both of those gaps and we've now actually come down yesterday with a gap down, a push lower, a bounce off the uptrend, or a gap down pump up, and then that exact same thing today. Where do we open? 436.63. Our low is 438.47. That is almost a perfect bounce. And yesterday we asked whether or not this is going to keep working, meaning our dips still for buying. And this is so important because as we look here, the last time we had a big test on this uptrend, it led to a higher low and also a higher high. Not by much, but it was a higher high. So as we are setting that up going into this next push here in July, is that going to be the same? Is our gap downs for buying? Are we going to form that higher high and keep holding this uptrend? That is our update for today. I'm going to ask you for a huge favor as we're getting started. If you could please consider smashing that thumbs up and subscribing to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. All right, so let's go through and see what drove the market today, because the technical price action right now is that we're starting to fill this upside gap by getting above 440.10. And just the fact that we poked over 440 yesterday means that it's trying to self-fulfill or get over that area. Also important to note that we don't have a hollow candle, but we also don't have lower lows. So if we go here to our hollow candle, it's a full candle and it's inside bar. So which means consolidation, no edge, but in a bull trend over at moving averages, the edge is to the bulls. So what we can notice that yesterday we had a massive print with the ADP non-farm payroll coming in at 500,000. That got the market scared, which means that overwhelmingly good data is actually bad. We look here to the numbers for today. Non-farm payroll, it came in at 209, slightly under the estimate. But the previous number here was also at 500,000. That has been revised down to 3. Unemployment actually ticked down from 3.7 to 3.6. Not what the Fed wants to see. And average hourly earnings, or the potential for a wage price spiral, previous number got revised up and the actual number got revised up. So what does this mean? It means an overwhelmingly green number yesterday took us down. So if all we're focusing on is this headline number here of non-farm payroll, that could explain the reason why we're going higher. So if we discount average hourly earnings, which I'm not, and we also discount the unemployment rate, which I'm not, I can understand what's driving the market. This is going to be very important because next week we're going to be getting CPI. We're going to get the headline or the actual CPI here, expected to tick up from 0.1 to 0.3, but core is expected to tick down. And then Bank of Canada is largely expected to raise interest rates because there was a blowout jobs number again today, and inflation is still high. So what this really comes down to is whether or not the squeeze is continuing, because if we're seeing fear and greed a little bit lower than last week at 83, but still in extreme greed, that is where this weekly chart is going to be particularly important as we're going to be closing out this Friday. Are we going to hold the higher low and higher? Sorry, we have an inside bar here going into this week, but next week we could get that lower low or the lower high. Volume's also starting to drop off, which means that the coil is getting tight, which is why I think a big move is coming. If we're still going to be going into extreme greed, but we fail to make a higher high, right, form a higher weekly high, that could be it. We could be coming in for a retest of our 432 area, or potentially down as low as about 425 to test this uptrend into next week. So we need to see higher highs on fear and greed, which we did earlier in the week. I think we hit 83 or 84, but it didn't hold it. So with that said, if you want to come join us for the final hour, we're going to do a live stream, bull versus bears. Who was going to win? So with that said, thank you so much for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you for an end of day stream, or on the weekend for our weekend deep dive. Thank you so much, and thank you for your support.